Welcome, ladies and gents. We are here, and I'm switching the colors, too. I've got too much power. Dark in the blue, Hart in the red. I think you'd be hard-pressed to find a player who has surprised more than Dark has in this season of Titans League. Dark has 10 wins and 2 losses. He won every single series. 2 of those sets he won 3-0, and then the other sets he won 2-1. Now, he is first in the group, but it is not actually confirmed that he will remain first. He needs 1 win here to be first, guaranteed. If he gets swept by Hart, Hart can actually sweep in last second, take first place, get a bye to the quarters, which would be very good for him. The nice thing for both is they will be playoffs, so that's pretty much guaranteed. Hart's had a great performance. I predicted Hart would be second in this group, but obviously I predicted that Hart would be second behind Viper, who we know will be second or third based on these games. Romans for Dark, and we've seen this before. Immediately you have to think about how limited their military options are, but the Romans are insanely good with their eco, and then Magyar's here for Hart, and Magyar's no eco bonus, all about the aggression, all about their cheap scouts, maybe their faster massing CA, and if you get to late game, one of the most fun late games, I think, for me, like, my favorite late game civs would probably be Magyars and Mongols. Mangadai and super speedy Siege, or tanky Hussars for the Mongols, and then recurve bow Cav Archers and Magyar Hussars. Oh, so satisfying, dude. So those are at least my favorite civs. So it could be Man-at-Arms, but I don't think Dark is really that type of player. And he's going to Wood awfully late here, so I think this is definitely more of like a Scout or Spear and Skirmisher build. And then also feels like it's going to be Scouts here for Hart. Who's WR.Hart? I only know Hart with the space. Yeah. I've never asked Hart about that. I feel like I've mentioned that on stream a bunch. Maybe it's something that he's not really familiar that he does, but I always notice it, and small things bother me. That's not as bad as when players don't have their actual name when playing a tournament. So that was actually the case here for Dark. I had to change his name because his name doesn't say Dark. Some of the other extreme cases are when like certain players will, like the worst one ever, I think it was a Hidden Cup qualifier, and I like spent a bunch of weeks to try and pump up people to show up, and I'm like, there's amazing players, you need to hear about them. Let's go. And then like introducing first, in the red, we have Fire, and then his name is El Gordo. Like, I promise, we have a very professional scene here. Poor Fire. He might have only done that once, and I'll just never forget it. But, yeah, it's just there's tiny things that bother me, and that's one of them, and it's really not that big a deal at the end of the day, and that's just how it goes. So, wow, a mining camp from Dark. We have seen Spears. We have seen Skirms. We have seen Scouts. We've seen Man-at-Arms. I can remember one instance where we've seen Archer opening, and that was in Gold League. Unless you count, actually, that's not true. I think Winchester also went Eagle Archer opening, technically. So, let's just say very few instances. But that seems to be the plan here for Dark. And I kind of like it. I mean, what you probably don't want to do is you don't want to play too heavy into the Scout number against Magyars, because they're simply better at that. And if you play too heavy into the Spears, someone like Hart will usually switch into Archers themselves, or Archers, or maybe Scouts and Skirms to take out the Spears. So essentially, if you open Archers against a Scout Civ, you go Archer Spear, they have to add an Archer range way faster than they would normally want to, which takes away their food eco, which makes things more difficult for their Scout numbers. So I guess that's the logic here. Pretty crazy build here, though. I mean, look, he's on Stragglers. Pushes in one final Deer. The T90 in the League of Legends scene, there was a way worse of an incident. Really? League of Legends had worse of an incident. Wow, I've never heard that sentence before. Everything I've heard about League of Legends is that it's a very happy place. Very kind and very chill. Very relaxed. Very welcoming environment. That's what I've heard. It's a shame I don't have time. I mean, I've heard so many good things. I really want to go check it out. Yeah, just like super wholesome all the time. Final deer getting pushed in from Dark. Being as greedy as possible here. But we know what people typically do on this map, right? And so the meta has been somewhat defined up to this point. There's been some exceptions to the rule. And Dark showing one of those exceptions, though. Heart's going to be like, what? He's going range? This is not what I was expecting. But he might think it's spears and skirms initially. When he sees the villagers on gold, though, he's going to know that this is archers. And there's the stable from Hart. Expected, right? So what says, when I will be king of the world, my first decree will be to delete League of Legends. Yeah, but you sound like someone who's played League of Legends. If you want to delete League of Legends, that tells me you played it. Also, what's your game plan? What's your game plan to be king of the world? Just curious. Is watching Titans League part of the rule the world game plan? That's some advertisement. I'd be like, just think of all the... You could potentially become... Well, never mind. Let's not deviate too far from the cast. Tempting, though. Tempting to make some jokes. Here come the scouts. And Hart won't be able to move through there very easily. But notice he's on the range. So, yeah, typically, you're going to want horse collar. You're going to want 6, 7, 8 farms before you add the range. But because of the archer opening, he has to respect this. But Hart's just so clean in these scenarios. His adaptations on the land map are just insane. So I expect him to be sharp. And the other thing about Hart is he's really consistent from game to game these days. There's no question on form or what type of shape he's going to be in. And he's going to consider diving through. And he baits the garrison there. That, I tell you, that feels really good as a player. You're like, ha! You just had idle time. Especially because he did it 3 or 4 times there. And, oh man, Hart's going to dive in with confidence. Snipes the archer. Just look at the unit control. And this has given him a lot of time, of course. A lot of map control. But he is against Romans, right? There's still that 5% efficiency behind this for the eco for Dark. He is walling up. He's adding a stable to plan on scouts. So he's expecting skirms, which is the correct call. But I don't think he can do too much damage with these archers right now. I think he honestly might just need to stay at home. He also is squeezing in horse collar, which when you have 0 farms at this point of the game and you're just now building them, that probably means you're not going to have many scouts. Horse collar is not bad, but it can delay you with what you're trying to do. And he was pretty late to the farms, but he's going to have horse collar now, and Hart won't. I just think that Hart could completely collapse on this army. The only thing that he really needs is skirms now. There's only 1 scout here. Dark might consider a tower. We see that very frequently. Next to the lumber camp would make sense. The gold is on the backside, so you don't exactly need a tower. And then there's walls this way. And there's the skirms. Hart has 8 skirmishers already. Archers have done very little for Dark. But this is kind of what he was thinking, is to force the Magyar player off of scouts and into skirm. But there's more scouts coming as well from Hart. The micro that's about to happen here is going to be absolutely unreal, by the way. Stable range production from both. And pretty much non-stop. Hart's farming eco looks perfect back at home. Perfect balance on everything. But the difference in the armies now is archers do damage to scouts. Skirms really don't, in comparison. And skirms are pretty much just doing 1 damage a hit. But there's more scouts for Hart, and Hart has forging. This is kind of what MBL was alluding to yesterday, the power of going back. Hart's going to fall back, and then he's going to have a bigger army. Dark might be feeling like he's got the better army here. I don't know if he does. Hart should still be okay. Fletching's on the way, and Dark completely overextended there. Completely overextends. Starts to lose an archer, loses another. I'm really liking Hart's position at the moment, guys. His micro is just so good. His micro is good, and he will kill everything here. Every single archer and scout will go down for Dark. Not what he would have planned. Again, Dark can still lose out on first place. And I don't know where Hart's scouts are going right now. They're kind of going on a vacation, but hard to recover from that one, man. There's MBL. He says the power of going back. Let's go. I still remember the night that you said that, MVL. It's like you had the thought like 7 times during the game. You just kept going, oh, the power of going back. So I think, in theory, the game plan can work out for Dark, but because of how quickly skirmishers mass, and because of how much initiative Hart had versus Dark, it became a problem. Now, Hart was patient enough to give himself some time. The downside for him now is he can't do any immediate damage. Dark's going to snag bloodlines, but Hart is just going to attack the farms. Aim to break through this house. He's being patient here. So, if someone's playing like this, you can use one of your skirms to attack every single farm, and the farmers can't farm if their farm is being attacked. So, don't attack the farmer, you attack the farm. Or you break the house and kill the vill. That's good, too. And Hart has just been non-stop here, man. Amazing play. Amazing play. And even though Bloodlines is in for Dark, he's got Bloodlines on 3 scouts. Bloodlines on 3 scouts is crazy, dude. And, I mean, he needs more, right? Like, obviously, he's going to make more. But he just has not had the timings that Hart has had. And Hart has gotten the most of every single unit here. The scouts could find more damage. And, again, the patience from Hart is just like... He could go for vill kills, but he knows if he just snipes the army, he'll eventually have full control over the game anyways. And take every villager. And so here we go. Dark hoping that Bloodlines is going to make a difference. Kind of did, honestly. Kind of did, but another scout runs through. Still 4 scouts here for Dark for Hart. And Hart on the way to Castle Age. This is like every Arabia game I've seen from Hart over the last 6 months. Just crazy control behind scouts, going into skirms. And imagine how you feel as a player going into the second game if you win like this. I think Dark will clear this now. It's getting close at least. But it's a terrible feeling because by the time you clear it, your opponent's already beat you to the next stage. And we've not looked back here that much, but everything's super smooth for him. Still only 1 stable 1 range. It has been 1 stable 1 range production the entire game. Everything else for Hart has been eco. And I guess it has also been 1 stable 1 range for Dark, but there's certainly been a difference in what they've been able to accomplish with it. And skirms are just throwaway units at this point. They do contribute a little bit, but they were really just there for the spears and the archers. The biggest thing was having them there for the spears, obviously, over the last few moments. And Hart... Look at the way he's attacking with that scout. That's a player who's confident right there. And you're kind of letting your opponent know. You're like toying with them, right? Does Hart have top 5 micro, asked somebody? I think he has top 5. I think Hart is top 5 on maps like this. Like standard land maps, I think Hart's top 5 in the world, no question. Like Arabia, I would put Hart in my top 5. And this map's somewhat close to it. But, you know, obviously there's some differences. But Hart just falls into that category. He's so good, you know what he's going to open with. And he can do it anyways. There's no downside to it. Second TC for him now. Cav Archer's coming in. And his opponent is on spears and scouts now. He doesn't have a single archer. Can't really justify mixing in, like, skirms at this point. Now Hart just pulling further and further ahead. The scouts are going to run through. They're Magyar scouts, so they get the extra attack. Looking for any weak vills. Poking away. I hear the scout from Hart just luring Dark out of position. And now Cav Archers are here, and Cav Archers are underneath the tower. This is over, man. I mean, maybe it's not. But it's dark right now, and it's about to get darker, man. This is painful. The tower doesn't protect you if he just sits underneath it. There's spears on the way, but everything's just so messy. He's lost 4 vills. Could lose more. He's trying, though. He's holding on. And he will be able to make knights here in a moment. But Hart is just smashing him right now. 2 TCs. Spears getting picked off confidence is crazy for him. And Dark continues to fight. Now, the problem for Dark is his eco is all out of balance now. But Scorpions is a good play here. Knight Scorpion is a really good composition. So if he can balance his economy a little bit, he does have a market to do that. I do think the comp could potentially get dangerous. Again, Magars don't have a single eco bonus, but they have all the military bonuses, and Hart has been utilizing them perfectly. And he doesn't care about that tower. He can still sit underneath it. Most of those units wedged underneath the tower. He's got 7 units stacked on a tile underneath it, which he does very well. But that's not so good against the Scorpion. But there's no spears now because they just got sniped to protect the Scorpion from the Knights. The tower is actually doing some decent damage. Hart's going to run through. There's another Scorpion now for Dark. Micro still happening. 2 TCs still for Hart. But 11 villagers lost. Make it 12 for Dark. Make it 13. Yikes. So yeah, Romans, they're more efficient. But now you're down by 20 vills. Your efficiency's not that good. Pretty sick. Hart normally doesn't like to throw away army numbers. Normally, no one does. Normally, you want to maintain as much control as possible. So I was kind of expecting him to just kind of linger in the middle. But that dive was sick, dude. Yeah, Dark has not had any time to breathe, any time to stabilize. Because Hart's played it perfectly. Now, only 2 TCs. He doesn't have a TC in the middle or anything yet. But he is moving it up a notch with eco upgrades he didn't have. And getting ballistics for the CA now. MBL says the power of diving in is not mentioned. True. This wasn't the... MBL, this isn't the power of going back, bro. You have to learn how to... Guys, you have to learn how to balance. There's the power of going back, and there's the power of diving in. And once you get that perfect balance, you'll be a good player. They're both very important. MBL, I have had so many people say to me, bring MBL to CoCast today. And I've also had so many people say to you, MBL, you're the best caster. I'm not sure how to feel about that. Like, you know, you show up once, say sup, and everyone who's been watching the whole day is like, dude, MBL, you're the best. My ego's taking a hit, bro. It is. I don't know if I can recover. I'm a little jealous, yep. The light cav looking for raids. Cav archers on the front. Probably can't break Dark. Again, I think like Dark has done a great job to stabilize from his position. But Hart still has such great control here. And we'll see if Hart can manage the light cav raids. This is the first time he's really been raided all game. So he's not really used to having to react to something like this. 1 Vil pick for Dark. 2 Vil picks for Dark. Big army for Dark. 5 Scorpions for Dark is pretty insane. You know, Hart probably needs a Mangonel here. I swear, if I'm ever making Cav Archers in a game and I feel like I need to make Knights, I'm just going to hear MBL in the back of my head saying, no, Knights is wrong, T90. That's why you're a noob. He didn't exactly say that, but that's how I felt. You need to go Imp. You need the food for Imp. Don't ever make Knights. Look at those farms. Also, Hart chopped through here. If Hart can get on the stone, he could build a TC here, but he's never scouted that. The nice thing is you're not really expecting Scorpions around the outside. So you kind of know the main fight's going to happen through the middle. I do feel like Siege Workshop in the middle is great. But Knights feels natural to me, okay? It feels natural to me. The eco's set up for it. You have the extra attack. You know those Scorpions will be a problem. 4 Knights might not be enough, but you get up to 6 or 7. Combining that with the Cav Archers can be strong, and still no ballistics for Dark. Oof, really close. That got really dangerous for Hart, man. And Dark is... Dude, credit to Dark. I thought he was so dead. He is going to raid on both sides right now, and he has the push through the middle. Hart could start to get raided to death. The problem with the Cav Archers is they have to be in one spot all the time. Oh, man, but now the problem for the Scorpions is they don't have protection. And Hart is going to use the Knights. He's going to dive in and snipe the Scorpions. He only lost 6 Vills. He does defend most of his eco. And those Scorpions were so important, man. You need to keep those Scorpions alive to have a chance of holding the middle of the map. Dark should have practiced the art of going back. He didn't. He must not have watched the cast yesterday. Oh, is this about to be a... Dude, it's D-A-R-K, not D-A-U-T, bro. Your name is something else. You're the wrong person here. What are we doing? Castle in the middle. I think he expected that fight to go better, and he simply committed to the game plan. That castle is never going up. He is also massacring Heart's eco at the moment. Like, absolute massacre in Heart's eco. Hart has lost 15 Vills. But Dark is going to lose everything in the middle. And even if it wasn't the prettiest situation for Hart, he's now killed 35. And he still has a pretty big group of Cav Archers here. Hart's going to be fine. I do think this bodes really well for the series. That Dark hasn't died as quickly as he could have here. I think he put up a respectable fight considering how far behind he was. But that's what Hart can do, man. Hart knows how to get ahead and stay ahead and control the whole game. And on any map that's fully land, that's open, Hart is one of the best players in the game. And Hart, with 2 more wins, will take first place away from Dark. It's very doable here. I think the next one's going to be the toughest test, though. The next one is on Dark's home map. And Dark's got some really good civs for it. But against the Romans, the 5% greater efficiency, Hart collects more wood, food, and gold. Just missed out on the stone, obviously. But the stone didn't exactly do too much for Dark there anyways. Just well played from Hart. Really patient. I think it just snowballed out of control for Dark because he took one wrong fight. And there's not many players in the world that can punish you like that if you take that wrong fight. So, let's see if Hart can make things interesting here, guys. I mean, he played really dominant in the first game. And if he were to win this one, I mean, I think he could actually do it because that would be a massive confidence boost for him. And he would clearly be in the zone. And this is the map that you'd expect Dark to get victories here. Dark is playing as the Bengalis. You get the additional Vills with the Bengalis. They've got the crazy eco and the really strong monks. And then Hart's got a civ that suits his style so well. We saw in the previous game, scouts and adapt. Here it's probably not going to be scouts and skirms, but most likely going to be light cav to contest for all the 9 relics on the map here. Burgundians have probably the craziest eco in the game off of a stable build. There are maybe some other civilizations that can compete there, but if you're going to make a stable and make light cav, which is perfect for this map, Burgundians are maybe the best. Bengalis can still do it. Bengalis can compete. Malay can compete. Cumans are a bit different. Those are the civs that come to mind beyond that, but they didn't really ban out any of the big ones here. So we'll have their home run hitters available. 5 relics in the middle. And then we've got 4 relics on the outside. So 3 relics on the right. And then 1 relic on the left. And on that left side is where some of the extra golds are as well. So you get 2 golds per player. And then there's 2 additional gold spots on the outside. What side that can spawn on varies. In this case, we have stone, gold, and gold on the left. And then there's only just 1 stone over here. So you get the relics and the stone. It's important to pay attention to. Obviously, there's resources everywhere. Like, stone and gold is all through the middle. So it's not as if you don't have the outside, you can't win the game. But something to think about. Wow, so Dark only has 1 on wood right now. Will probably be 2 because I think the house builder will go back. This feels like a fast feudal for me. Doubt did this. And then also we had, who did we see earlier today? Daniel did it. Now, Daniel also went like forward villas and stuff, which was kind of crazy. But in theory, the faster you go to feudal age, the faster you get the vill lead here. So maybe there's some value in doing this, and you can have some really solid eco as well. So T90, could someone tell me the history of Dark's previous AV2 results? Well, I mean, first and foremost, if you really want the in-depth look at it, Liquipedia is your place because it'll list it all. But I can talk about it. So, Dark's not really new, man. Like, I've known Dark for 10 years. The thing is Dark is 20 years old. Like, I remember Dark playing in 2015. Now, I didn't know back then that he was so freaking young. But he's been active and at a high level for like 8, 9, 10 years. And I remember, I think it was Hidden Cup 3 qualifier or something, where I was casting him and I said he was 18. And then he messaged me later. He's like, no, I'm actually like 15. And I was like, what? So usually when you think of new, like young players, or you think they're going to be new, but he's actually not that new. And I think because he's not new, people kind of sleep on him a little bit in terms of the next gen. Because I think one of the things you have to look to for next gen, in my opinion, is probably youth, as a lot of the players who have been around a long time are quite old compared to some of the next gen. So the issue for Dark has really just been consistency, but he's had some good results. There was, I think his best result was probably in a tournament called World Rumble. And World Rumble was a tournament for all players who never got top 8 in an S-tier event, okay? And he beat Hart in the finals of that tournament. So that's kind of interesting history between the two. Now, that was like a year or two ago, maybe? Did Dark and Daniel train? Is this the same thing? This is the same thing that... This is the same thing that Daniel did earlier today, guys. The forward vills on the sides, fast feudal with Bengalis, early barracks. They definitely labbed something up. And there was also a wolf, you'll remember. And I mean, the no loom is kind of a problem here. The scout is over here for Dark. And Heartt did wall this area. Yeah, he beat Hart 5-1 in that series, yeah. But I've been really impressed with his consistency. I don't know exactly what his life is like. I don't know that situation. But he definitely has been more or less active on the games at various points. And so he's been really good this event. And I think a big thing for Dark that it really improved his gameplay the last year or two is Team Fox. Sebastian, Dark, Mihai, Margugu. These guys, like, they brought together on a team, had a small salary, and they were training together and working hard. So this Ville's just going to build houses now and wait for a scout to come out of the stable. Yeah, there's a bunch of players on Fox. I don't know how connected they all were because there were so many players. Fox is recently disbanded, which is obviously a big bummer. The sponsor is stepping away from the game. But I mean, even if the sponsor's stepping away, I think that made a big impact on the scene, man. It's no surprise. Mihai's promoted up to platinum. Sebastian's playing like an absolute god. Dark is playing like an absolute god. Margugu, if he would have known that he could have been 6th place instead of 5th, I'm sure yesterday would have played like an absolute god. The interview with Margugu, top tier, all credit to Fox. And, you know, it's just, I think that's part of it. Now, this is a weird game, okay? This is a weird game. We got stone walls on the sides from Dark, which I kind of like. The Scout Edition, I think, was because he didn't know Hart was walled here. But Hart is not expecting any of this. Hart has no clue this is happening, and very forward stone walls. I felt like when Daniel did this, the first part was good, but he never went back to stone to recoup the cost of the stone walls. And then he couldn't add TCs. And so he just fell behind an eco. But I don't think Dark's going to make the same mistake. Obviously, this is for long-term. This is to deny the relics. I'm really excited to see if Hart has any clue. Guys, Hart has no clue. And he's going to be clicking out here, and his units are going to path all awkwardly. He's going to be like, what? Would you say he's in the dark? Hart is in the dark. True. we could say that Dark didn't show enough heart in the first game. Oh, well, we got some Hun potential. Not Hun potential. Sorry, pun potential. Oh, what am I doing? What am I doing? Someone made fun of me for dad jokes earlier, so maybe I shouldn't encourage that. Screw it. My parents are staying with me right now. Who am I if I don't make a dad joke for my dad? My dad is the reason I am the way I am. Well, not the video game addict. He never played video games in his life. Actually, my dad and I are very different people. He can fix things. He can build things. I can talk. But, you know, it's... Still got my dad's genes. So, Castle Age will be much faster here for Hart due to this. Dark is still adding scouts, which is just odd. But he's adding the scouts in the middle to attack the scouts from Hart. I kind of like how confused this is going to make Hart. I do wonder how Hart addresses this, but I think this should actually be better for Hart. Assuming he manages it properly. Does he see the wall? No. Does he see the scouts? Yes. And nice blocking from Hardy. Really confident right now. Baron, not a horseman, Jinzo, Dr. Baba Ganoush, Kuro. Thank you all for the primes. Thank you, Dracarna, RJ Morgi. Those are all the primers from earlier. Hart in Castle Age, like 2 minutes faster, maybe? And drops TC number 2. Has he spotted a wall yet? Yes. No. Oh my god, bro. Well, okay, so first off, that could have been worse, because he could have held the gate open with a scout and stayed there. So I guess for Dark, it's not as bad as it could have been. But now Hart's got scouts over here. The whole point was to keep him out so you could get the relics. I hate that I don't like this strat because I feel like it's got so much potential to be epic. But I'm worried about the eco side of things for Dark. So much potential for me to freak out and say it's an amazing strat, but because it didn't work earlier today from another player, I'm judging it. Nice snipe. P90, you forgot the flags, by the way? Oh, okay. I can add that. But the TCs are the concern. Hart is on 3 TCs. And, like, I feel like this simplifies your approach and your thinking here if you're Hart. Hart, option 1 is, oh, I got to break through these walls, and then he will react to me. Option 2 is, all right, we just kill him through the middle then. It's like, I kind of feel like that makes it easy for Hart. Hart can just honestly wall up behind this, say thanks for keeping me safe, and then go into the middle. Haster says, isn't this just like the Dragon Star thing without you hyping it? Haster, I swear to God, are you serious? Or are you trolling? Don't you dare disrespect the thing. Bro. I saw examples. I saw Rex, and I had to keep my mouth shut for freaking weeks, okay? Dragon Star got nervous. It has a lot of potential, and there will be future content with that. Let's not act like this is the same, all right? My goodness, dude. You just know how... It's fine. Second TC, third TC from Dark. See, if you watched Daniel play earlier, I was sitting here like, he can't build TCs. And he wasn't getting eco upgrades. This is all happening right now for Dark. So I like it. Also, the monastery positioning is interesting. It does help you get the relics very quickly. This is also kind of what Daniel did, right? I think he had a monastery at home and then a monastery on the side. Lycav meet each other in the middle. Hart aiming to get that relic. And he will lose it for now, though. That's fine for Hart. Hart's not going to complain about that at all. He killed 2 Lycav. He'll get the relic anyways and has 4 already. And this could be dangerous. Close the gate. Close the gate. Close the gate. Oh, my goodness. Hart is unfortunate there. That was really close. I like the big boom now behind us if you're Dark, because obviously you need to recover in that. I think the key is actually not losing map control in the middle, so you need a lot of army now. Yeah, Hart is just attacking a stone wall here. That's not going to do anything. What could happen, though, is Dark could actually go through the gates and into Hart's base. Oh, yo! Is he going there? Oh, do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. You know you want to. It's such a long, like, distance to run. I guess Hart really should wall behind here. Like, to be open and exposed to this is kind of crazy. But I don't think he's faced it before. The logical thing is just wall so he can't raid you. Because Dark could be sending Lightcav there right now, and he could be in the back of your base before you know it. Hart's just fortunate that the Lightcav are still camping here. But Dark will have 4 relics at least. Yeah, there's only 4 relics on the outside. Hart already has 5. It's been a long time until Dark showed this army. So I wonder, I think Hart is paranoid about the sides now. Yeah. He's like, he must be coming to the side of my base. I have to wall up. And now the Lightcav are just here instead. Yeah, Hart is actually going back home because he thinks he screwed up not walling this, and he thinks he's about to get surprised. He's like, please, no. Please, no. Oh, it would have worked so well. Look at him bring more vills as well. And that's just because he didn't see the army from Dark. Don't tell me Dark goes over there now. And Dark can see the walls. This side's walled up. This side is gated. This side's walled up. And now a castle in the back from Dark. Okay, so he wants a safe castle for most likely Ratha production. And Vill count is going to be crazy for Dark. Feidman says, is this going to be on YouTube? Absolutely, man. Every single game will be on YouTube. It'll be on the Extras channel. And it comes up as quickly as we can. We upload it in 4K with all the drafts and stuff. And there's 3 sets a day minimum. So obviously it takes a day or 2 at least to get it up. Now, Bloodlines is in for the Lightcav that Dark has. And that is not the case for Hart because his Civ doesn't get Bloodlines. So this castle for Hart is kind of risky. And he didn't get the house down. And the monks are going to get sniped. And Dark only needs 1 win to go first in the group. And Hart is just out of position right now. I think he's still kind of okay. It's a little unnecessary, of course. But he does have his army showing up from the sides. He'll lose a couple vills. And then complete the castle. 4 vills down. He's Burgundians. He'll be an imp. He has 5 relics. I think he may be a little frustrating, but at least it wasn't fully denied. So, Ratha, right? This unit is a ranged unit that can turn to a melee unit, or I don't know, maybe it's a melee unit that can turn to a ranged unit. I think it starts as a ranged unit, so ranged unit first. Let's say that, actually, because the ranged unit armor, like the archer armor, applies to it. The melee mode, I mean, you've got 125 HP, you've got 10 attack. That's way more than a Lightcav. And I've seen it trade evenly against Cavalier. So going Ratha with your own Lightcav is really good, especially if you can utilize the switch. It also should be good against hand cannons, which I think is Dark's plan. Hart's plan. Hart is expecting Halb, I believe. And so for that reason, he's trying to prep the gunpowder. Look at Dark's Vill count now. Still hasn't clicked up to Imp. But when he makes it to Imp, he's going to get 2 Vills from each TC. He might even build another one. But Dark's been an Imp for a long... Man, I keep screwing up these guys' names. But Hart has been an Imp for a long time. And he's got a Treb on the way already. And 3 minutes away from Imp is Dark. But he does have all the information he might want. He knows about the ranges. He knows about the castle. He'll know about this castle because it's going to be on his face. His Imp TC is one that's safe. Look at all this gold that's available on the sides. But how do you defend yourself? Best of luck. A new gate here for Dark. Does he have Loom? He does. Just hand cannons are really strong. And, guys, I mean, Hart is on the warpath right now. He's on the absolute warpath. Every range is producing hand cannons. He'll be at 20 soon. The castle will go up. The gate will go down. The TCs will go down. I don't know if he's going to have a chance this game, but I do just want to say what a key moment and key decision from Dark to build the castles in the back. If he built the castles on the front, he's dead. But he recognized he would be later to imp, probably because of practice and experience, and correctly has built his castles on the back for Ratha production. Are the Rathas going to be able to kill all of this? And if they can, by the way, maybe another example of why this unit might see a nerf soon. There's already some, let's say, balance problems when it comes to, like, YOLO fast castle plays. Heart's got to be careful. Actually, do the Ratha even need imp to kill this? I don't think they do. I think this whole hand cannon army dies, right? You switch some to melee mode. The rest are on ranged. And it all dies. Goodbye. Whoa. They're just so tanky compared to hand cannons. Hart needs skirms. Skirms do bonus damage against them. And there we go. Dark is an imp. Now, Hart's got 5 relics. Hart's got access to the stones and the golds in the middle. And he's got castles, so it's not easy for Dark to push back the castles. He can clean up the fights, but the fights are happening in his eco. Like, this is a lot of time for Hart. Look at him get the upgrades. Double blacksmith, by the way. I love it. I think more players need to be doing that to stack in upgrades as quickly as possible. I'd also love to see Cavalier upgrade for Hart. And there it is. Now, if you listen to MBL cast with me yesterday, he said that he implied that I would have said that before or after it showed up to look smart. I think I said that right before. I don't know. But yeah, it's just so cheap. So you're going to be able to then click Paladin. Even before you make a unit, I think it's an important tech to get. Hart's respecting this. He's respecting this. He's staying humble. He's not over-investing into the push. He's taking his time and creeping forward with castles. And then Dark is still massing the Rathas behind. But he has 24 Rathas. Is that enough? Hart's had so much time. TCs are going down. Rebooming will be tough. The eco is still good. But map control is so difficult. You don't get bombard cannon if you're the Bengalis. So you'll need trebs or siege elephants to push this back, which is so difficult to do. Dark is waiting until he's maxed and getting every upgrade he can. And here we go. Maybe, potentially. Paladin's on the way from Hart as well. I think Hart should win this game, guys. Hart might go top the group. This is Dark's home map. If Hart wins this, he could get the 3-0. There's Pikes. Now, I really do, again, like how Dark is at least waiting until he's maxed. That affects the Rathas. And so do the attack upgrades for the cavalry. So he's doing that, and here we go. Let's see. Some of them will switch to melee mode, and the others will stay on ranged behind. Paladin is still not in yet for Hart. He does have them in production. I'm seeing a lot of Ratha go down, but there's so much with them. There's so much more for Dark right now. Skirms and hand cannons can back away. Hart is even using his trebs right now to try and take these things out. Man, these units are crazy. He's going to take the trebs. Those trebs are gone. And if he makes his own trebs right now to take these castles, he could maybe do it. This is all before Paladin arrives, though. Hart has given himself a good position here. Hart's castles have 17 kills, guys. Those are important kills. And the trebs do go down. Dark only has one treb, though. He only has one. Still has all this golden stone. Like, crazy amounts of golden stone on the sides. Let's not forget that. But pushing 3 castles with skirms and paladins? The unit that is designed to kill these things is skirms. Remember. So, that's what Hart's got. Not the best skirms in the game, but he still, you know, has skirms. I think Elite Ratha trade pretty nicely against Paladin, though, which is the scary thing. And skirms are just... Well, I guess you need enough to support your siege at all times and hold this position if you're Hart, right? Mahayana now on the way for Dark. So his eco will take up 10% less pop space, maybe leaving more room for Rathas. But I'm seeing production issues here. Another castle for Dark on screen, where the Trebs could maybe be for Hart. Also love how Dark is also mixing in some monks to convert, monks to heal. I like the micro. Dark will have to defend his Trebs. Hart is diving, and you could just tell Dark was switching to melee mode there to fend off the Paladins. How do they do against Paladins and skirms? Is it good enough? I just don't know. Seems like maybe it is. Are you kidding? What? He's still losing a lot of units. He's still stuck on one unit here. He still doesn't have the map. It just feels like that's the most important thing. And still only one Treb from Dark. That's what Hart needed in that moment. He needed his bombard cannons to snipe the Trebs while he was diving. I think he missed that opportunity. I don't think he'll make the mistake again. And he's remained consistent with the skirms. I think the trades are good enough for Hart. Maybe I'm wrong. Ratha's a really hard unit to judge. But I think it's good enough. Dark still has a crazier eco than Hart does. Dark has the score lead. And Dark is he doesn't have many Ratha anymore. He's got 20 now. He took out the bombard cannon with his Treb. Hart has got to be so frustrated right now. And how many kills do these castles have? Hart's got 30 kills in his castles. Melee mode Ratha, diving for the siege. He'll dive for the siege. The bombard cannons will go down. The Trebs will go down. Dude, this unit is insane. What more is Hart supposed to do? This is the Burgundians, bro. Paladin, Skirm, 5 relics. I still think Hart is in a good position, but he still hasn't pushed past this. It's just so tough for Dark to make siege and Wrath at the same time, and the Treb goes down. Hart's fine. Hart's fine, man. Now, when does Hart run out of gold? He's got like 4K gold here. He's got 8K gold. That's it for him, is just 8K plus the relics. But 8K is crazy. Now, Ratha and Lightcav, though. Ratha and Lightcav's a different story. He was missing armor. So, and then, if the Lightcav are enough to contribute against Trebs and Skirms and all that, then maybe you can use your castles to produce Trebuchets a bit more. Lightcav obviously are horrible compared to a Paladin, though. They're obviously way less expensive. Dude, what a crazy game here. What a crazy game. What are we witnessing? The population's still ridiculous for Dark. Is he pushing this back, bro? He's pushing this back. Paladins and Skirms. He's pushing this back with mainly Ratha. I mean, the Lightcav honestly just died off. They were more of a distraction, if anything. And still, I'll say it again. Maybe Hart's fine. Maybe he's holding. Maybe he is just enough every time. Trebs could move on to this castle. Dark cannot lose this castle. If Dark loses this castle, he's out. He's done. He needs this gold. He needs these TCs. He needs these castles. Even just losing the center here means all your new production goes right into the death blob. Let's see. Last chance for Dark, and Hart knows it. Hart will drop a castle here. I kind of want to see Hart go for Revolution this game. It's pretty much priced at a point where it's just a meme at this point, competitively. Oh, God. What happened here? See, I think what's OP with the Rathas, by the way, is the melee mode against the Paladins. The ranged mode against Paladins I don't think is necessarily strong enough. But I think the melee mode seems to be decent. Whatever it is about the melee mode combined with the armor. So, there he goes. Hart's going to drop that castle. Hart's going to complete another layer in this defense. And he has had to work so hard. I've never seen a player have to work so hard to kill somebody. This is ridiculous. 4 castles in the middle. Full Paladin, full Skirm, full Trebs. Hasn't been able to break him yet, but he's breaking him. He's doing it. Dark is desperate. Dark is extremely desperate right now to snipe those Trebs, but he has Paladins and Skirms to face first. And if he gets there, it won't be before his castle falls. Production is the problem for Dark. And it is not an issue for Hart. Hart has ranges. Hart has stables. He only uses the castles for protection and for Treb production. And with 165 vills for Dark, obviously it makes sense if you have Mahayana. But it just feels like maybe, even though the Rathas may be insane, it's not good enough. Hart will now switch into Halb, long term. And I would actually like to see him send units into the sides here. I think that's the key. You could maybe even consider a Ram here. But you could still keep focusing through the middle of the win. But 5 Paladins this way and 5 Paladins this way. And Dark can't react to that while also reacting to this push. Maybe Hart does that now. T90, you keep saying Rathas are insane even when Rathas keep losing ground. Rathas are busted. But Hart's played amazing. Yeah, I think Rathas... there's something that needs to be fine-tuned about them, in my mind. But Hart's played amazing against this. Again, he's had to work so hard, dude. He's had to work so hard. Dark would have had no chance without this unit. Even the Elephant Archers would have been a no-go. Game would have been over 10 minutes ago. He keeps coming back. Like, it keeps being like, Ratha or OP, he's gonna die. Ratha or OP, he's gonna die. It keeps swinging back and forth. But the theme has remained, he needs to push these castles. And he is... Not only did he never take this castle out, but there's a new castle here. I mean, that's just not going to be easy. He still has stone, though, so maybe he could build another one. Really surprised that Hart didn't raid in that moment. Sometimes, though, you're just so fixated on the task at hand, and if you need to push a little bit further, you probably do win. But Dark's not dead yet, and Hart just really overextended. There's the raids now. There we go. Couple Paladins that way. And those Paladins should find some farming eco. Unfortunately, most of the farms are actually on the right side for Dark. So it's not actually the direction he would have wanted to go. Halbs against this. Skirms against this. Paladins against this. Hart is sending every single thing he can make, really. And it's hard to justify siege against them because they can switch to melee mode and snipe you. Dark will track that raid. But still, that's attention to detail that Dark has not had to pay over here in a long time. It might not actually kill it. Yeah, this raid pays for itself in so many different ways. You take better main fights because of that raid. You've got Ratha still holding their own. If Dark gets swept, he will be in the playoffs. And it will be, well, both players will be in the playoffs, excuse me, but he'll be in the round of 12 over the next 2 days. And Hart, we will not see until Wednesday or Thursday in the quarterfinals. It'd be a crazy finish to the group. I just... The stats, right? The stats said it was pretty much Dark's group. Every time I think Dark is dead, his pop is 200. At what point does Hart run out of gold? He's out of gold! He actually can't make Paladins anymore. And Siege. Except for, you know, the 5 relics. Also, Hart never got vineyards. So his farms aren't actually bringing him gold right now. No way, right? No way. I mean, Hart's taking this castle, which is so critical. There will only be 2 castles left for Dark. Unless he builds more, which he can't afford. Again, I'd really like to see melee mode. I think if the Rathas, half of them switch to melee mode at least, it really helps you tank against some of those Paladins. I could be very wrong on that, by the way. Ranged mode seems to be wrecking as well. They're just so tanky. They have so much armor. Another castle on the left for Dark. Obviously, that protects the farms later. Another castle on the right. Oh, he's far from finished. And he still has gold. There is apparently 300 gold left on the map, but we are about to be in a goldless game. And in a goldless game, we can't see Siege, and we can't see Paladins, and more importantly, we can't see Ratha very easily. Which has been the key to Dark's army. Dark doesn't have an archer range to make skirms. Here goes Hart for this castle. What a game, dude. Hart has 80 military right now. 8-0 military. And he's had, like... It feels like he's had consistently 30 or 40 more. I still think it's going to be enough. If he had vineyards, I'd be pretty much certain. It's just the theme remains that these castles will need to be pushed at some point, and that will not happen. That will not happen if you don't have gold. And there is no gold for Dark, and he will lose this castle. Hart could still get Burgundian vineyards at some point, too. It's not like that's not within reach if he has 5 relics bringing him gold. We have been looking where Dark started in this game. Like, this used to be Dark's whole base. The Hart has completely disrupted it, man. What a game. And I don't know exactly where that gold is. That 100 gold, but wherever it is, it's going to be gone soon. And yeah, where is it actually? It's not being mined. I mean, that gives you like 1.5 Rathas, so it's not that big a deal, I guess. Is it in the middle? It's probably in the fight somewhere, right? I don't know. I'm looking. Oh, there it is. Okay. Yeah, so that explains why they're not taking it. 33 Ratha for Dark. This is the same cycle over and over and over again. But Hart doesn't need a gold unit. And these Trebs, man, these Trebs have been sick. 37,000 damage dealt from those 3 Trebs. Such a good job from Hart. He needed patience here, man. So many people would have overextended and built one of these castles super far forward when it wasn't actually doable. And then you lose the Vills, you lose your army, you lose your Trebs, and you lose control. Dark was close. This could become a bit of a wood game, actually. I mean, Hart is starting to overchop here. Dark may notice that. He isn't outposting, though. He doesn't see that. Maybe he could. If anything, Hart's going to see that soon. And Hart is building outposts in the middle to see the outside area, yeah. We're just doing a Ratha countdown at this point. 24 Ratha. With maybe a few more coming into the queue soon. But the Halbs and the Skirms are holding their own. I like how Dark is randomly placing mills on berries and deer at this stage. It's kind of funny when you see that. Nice snipe there. Oh, no, he didn't snipe it. Never mind. Yeah, Skirms are supposed to be a counter. And they've helped. I think it's more about, like, the value, though. Like, look at the value destroyed. It's been so costly for Dark. He's lost 83,000 value, and Hart has only lost 66k. So yeah, that's how you have to think about it with these Ratha. You need a castle for them. You need unique techs for them. To fully max out with the Ratha, you need a lot of more blacksmith techs. Their stats are ridiculous, but I think Hart's going to do the job. Only 115 Vills for Hart. He's actually dropping towers on the woodline. Oh, there was a bit of a chop through there. That tower should go up as well. Oh, and we got Halbs starting to raid too. Dark desperate to snipe the Treb, but he loses his castle. Guys, he has 1 castle. 1 Ratha production factory left. You know what bothers me the most about the Ratha? And this is not a serious suggestion. Oh, there's 2 castles left. Guys, I'm just testing you. It's good to know you're paying attention, man. The funny thing is, half of you guys are at work right now, too, and you're still like, oh, no, it's 2 castles, T90. It's 2 castles. Your boss probably loves you. But the thing that's kind of funny to me about the Ratha is there's such a tanky, strong unit, and their archers are so pew-pew sounding, you know? Pew-pew. Like, it sounds so wimpy. the Archer Fire. Am I wrong on that? They kind of sound... It doesn't sound tanky. I guess it's the HP that's tanky, but... Guys, is Hart going to do this? Is Hart going to sweep? I mean, you saw how he played the first game. He has his number 2 Civ pick remaining for the map. He needed the 3-0, but, like, Dark has never lost a series in this season. Up until now, it seems like... Obviously, seems like this is at least going to be a series loss. Maybe Dark can still get first if he wins the 3rd game, but crazy drama, man. And Dark taps out. I can't believe... I thought it was going to be like 380 Ratha or something for Dark. He only, quote-unquote, only made 260 of them. And honestly, it was very well played, but Hart just pushed right up the gut in early imp, and Hart up 2-0 here. So maximum drama at the tail end. He only needed to make 350 skirms, 300 halbs, and 183 paladins to do it. But what I loved from Hart is how he encountered something kind of different here, which I think has some potential, right? The walls on the sides. And he just said, who cares? I need to just wall it up. Thanks. Thanks for making me think I can't go there. I'm not going to do that anyways. I'll just go right through the middle. And if you think about the strategy, there's 5 relics in the middle, which Hart took like right away. There's 4 relics on the outside, so Hart's always going to have the relic advantage. And then the main worry is actually the gold. Let's look at how much gold was mined. Well, no. Yeah, I mean, I expected that Dark would have mined more gold because Dark had the outside gold, but he didn't take any of the gold outside of his wall, and then there was the gold outside of Hart's wall, so it was fairly even there, I guess, you know? So... Again, I don't think the strat's bad. I really like walling on the outside. I wonder if walling on the outside at the expense of your castle age is the play, though. I think walling on the outside after you boomed, after you fight for army control, I think that could be good. Even though Dark lost, I do want to say he gave himself his best chances here because the castles on the back were epic. If he ever went castle forward, this game was over a long time ago. Amazing patience and push from Hart to know how difficult that was going to be and slowly grind down his opponent. That was a crazy game. Wow, look at the KD, man. That KD is pretty much as close as possible. 821 kills versus 819. So, well played. Hart now could go first. And, I mean, Dark could go first. It comes down to the final game. Now, what does this mean for Viper? Is that still up in the air? Let's look real quick. I think for Viper, this might guarantee he's 3rd at this point. Yeah, it should be Viper 3rd regardless now because Viper is behind Hart and Dark. So I'm inputting all the results from the day, guys. Sorry, spoilers. But Valis 1-2-1, Andy 1-2-1, and then Hart is now up 2-0. And yeah, I mean, 50-50, but Viper, 50-50 for these two now because they're tied. But Viper is obviously not able to get ahead of them. So that confirms, I guess, in the playoffs that it will be Viper Sebastian in the round of 12. And then the other round of 12 match to be decided. Oh, wow, we've got the snowy version of the map for this game. Here we are, folks. Welcome to game number 3. Winner of this wins the group. And the significance there is, of course, you move directly to the quarterfinal. You get 2 days off, and you don't have to run into a very big name. Actually, the loser of this game will face Mr. Yo in the playoffs. That is confirmed. So, yeah, you either skip past Mr. Yo into a quarterfinal, or you have to go directly up against Mr. Yo. Which would you prefer? Dark was ahead of the group every step of the way, but Dark was... He hasn't been able to use the same magic to find success here against Hart. Hart has been really controlled after his army openings. Both games, it's been scouts and adapt and boom. Game 1 and game 2. Very different, of course, but Hart with that crazy pressure there in Fortify Clearing. And that was the map that you would have thought Dark could get the win. That was his home map. Now we have early pick here for Hart and for Dark, and we've got Acropolis. So 2 fish in the middle. We've seen it a million times. Shore fish on the shoreline. Docks will eventually come up, or so you would expect. I think the matchup's pretty even here. I actually really like the Portuguese. I think the Portuguese may be superior in my mind. But the Hindustanis are easier to play. I think that goes a really long way. The cheaper vills is a big bonus. And then having scouts, or any stable unit for that matter, destroy buildings quickly is so helpful on this map. You'll see a lot of walls here or there in every single game, and being able to break down those walls is huge. And with other civs, you just think, maybe I should make more scouts because they're walled. With Hindustanis, you still can. They're somewhat off-centered here, too. This generation reminds me of the generation we saw between Doubt and Leary in their series like 3 weeks ago. Anyone else remember that? Or have you guys forgotten that at this point? Right over here to the left, I think Doubt tried to drop a castle in this corner. There's 2 relics here. And then there's 2 golds. Wow, this kind of looks like a main gold, but I think this is actually 2 separate 3-tile golds that have generated touching each other. So that's quite a big find there. Obviously, there's still other golds to look for, but it's not so easy. I mean, there's this gold down here, this gold near the water, certainly not easy. So if Dark doesn't find this, beyond his hill, he pretty much needs to take this corner, right? I guess for Hart, he's got this option, which he has scouted. That feels natural for a TC, much like this one. And then does have this other gold, maybe. So maybe a little bit easier for Hart in some ways. I think where it's more difficult for Hart is his wood situation is maybe slightly more awkward. It's near where a lot of the action's going to happen, but if Dark were to lumber camp forward, it would be similar for him. So Hart saw the dock coming up. Dark, very importantly, walls it up, so the Vill couldn't be sniped. And we'll see some fishing ships from both and transition to the next stage. But Portuguese get more HP on their ships. So if they're making the same amount of fires, assuming the micro is even, Portuguese should have the slight edge there. But yeah, really close. They could actually maybe treb each other from these hills later on. I think that's a little too far. That's maybe like 20 tiles or something, but... D-King, what's up? Says, hey guys, I'm late again. Can we restart? No. But thanks for having interest, I guess. Welcome, though. Diablo, thanks for the Prime. Dan Collin, thank you for the 18 months with Prime. Sam, thank you for the Prime. Shika, thank you for the Prime. And Dark is obsessed with deer. And he's being obsessed with deer on a map where they're generated off-center here. So he may push this deer. He may find out where Hart is, or he can just assume what Hart's going to go for anyways. But if he chooses to send his scout all the way over here, he's not going to find his opponent here. Hart. Well, did Hart not realize? I think he knows now, but I think Hart had a brain fart here because he brought his scout over here after seeing the rocks and the elevation. What? Bro, you were there. You already saw... Okay, well, for those that don't know, Acropolis doesn't have any other hills. So if you see a hill on Acropolis, that's where your opponent's going to be. I thought he was going to weave back over to the right. He notices now. And he's looking around. I doubt that was auto-scout, guys. T90, how would Gulam fare against the organ guns, given their high pierce armor and speed? If there was a noise to describe how that matchup would go for the Gulams, it would be... not so good. They'd get shredded pretty quickly. I mean, it's gunpowder against infantry, right? So the pierce armor doesn't really work in the same way. I mean, this is nice early advantage here from... Oh my goodness. Wait, that fire can do damage? Now it can't, all of a sudden. So palisades and docks should be able to block fire damage. So there was an angle there that Hart was actually doing damage. The villager actually got repositioned there. You could tell Dark was freaking out. Like, he was never expecting that villager to be killable. And faster uptime here from Hart. Well played. Nice build. But he hasn't killed the fishing ship yet. Fire galley's going to come out for Dark. And as I said before, the fires are stronger for the Portuguese. But there's now a second fire for Hart. So a lot of work for Dark to do with that villager now. But he pulls it back. And now you also have the villager being attacked. And Hart has to combat that with the scout. Such an annoying position to get into here if you're Dark. It really helps you. But well played from Hart. That's sick. That's sick that he was able to get that kill. How in the world? Obviously, you just have to assess it on the fly and realize, am I doing damage or not? And both players actually lose their scout. So eventually, this area becomes unimportant. So I think 3 ships max is usually what you see. It's stable and range opening behind this for Hart. And it is range opening for Dark. But so far, man, I mean, Hart picking up where he left off. And he also saw his opponent went for a ranged opening. Every time Hart sees his opponent goes for a range opening, immediately goes for his own range to add skirms. And Hart's going to demolish him here. Hart kills the Vil. Hart will kill the fire. Demo, though. Oh, that's nice. Okay, Dark kills those ships. After all, we'll add another ship, and we'll see who ends up winning water after all. Remember, the gold units are cheaper for the Portuguese. You also get the wood from the berries, which is super helpful for your eco. There's still lots of sheep there for Dark. Hart's already transitioning on the farms, but that's not necessarily a bad thing here. I look at Hart today with his army control on land, and I just never feel as though things are going to go wrong for him. He seems so comfortable. He knew it was Archer opening pretty early. Just like before, he'll have a couple skirms to deal with that. Difference now, obviously, is they're still really investing into the water, which is surprising. I'm surprised they've invested this much. I'm more so surprised that Hart has invested this much. Dark, I would kind of expect. Dark did go to gold. He is Portuguese. You're kind of expecting in your game plan that you would win the water here. The Spearman doesn't even get a kill there. And I think Dark saw the skirms, but he is adding scouts. So it's like game 1 all over again. Dark has the better eco civ, but Hart on scouts and going into skirms. This could get dangerous. Oh man, the unit control from Hart's crazy. He grouped up around that scout, 2-volleyed it. Still no tower or anything on that front wood line there from Dark. And he is going to win the water. And he even adds a fishing ship. This is for first place in the group. This is for a bye to the quarterfinals. Otherwise, your punishment is you play Mr. Yo in the round of 12. Like, it's pretty ridiculous the difference this game makes. Now, prize pool depends for both of them because they're in the playoffs. Depends on what they do in the playoffs as a whole. But you could argue, can someone tell me the difference between losing in the round of 12 and losing in the quarterfinals? Like, if you were to win this one game and never win another game, it could still lead to a massive payoff in prize pool for you. That is on Liquipedia. Maybe someone can check, but also, I don't know if you really want to look away right now. Hart never advanced forward with his skirms like he did previously. He seems to have really waited till he's gotten a lot more, but by now, there's actually more scouts for Dark. So it's a $200 difference for those positions. Got it. Okay, so it's not as significant as I was implying. I thought it'd maybe be like $400 or $500. I mean, $200 is $200. But at the end of the day, you want to win the whole thing, man. Everybody said, well, not everybody, but expectations were Viper would win this group. Expectations have been changed this season in a lot of different ways. That is a lot of weak scouts for Hart. Great patience from Dark. Great micro from Dark when it matters most. If he could just get fletching. Oh, he has fletching, excuse me. Yeah, fletching on the archers. Scout production. Tower on the wood line. Not too bad. Villagers were protected on the backside very nicely. And scouts still on the way for Dark. This will be full feudal, guys. I don't think we'll see either player stop producing until they think they have control over the game. Bloodlines for Hart as well. Hart has 130 HP, and Dark actually has 200 HP. That's before Bloodlines. But that doesn't necessarily mean this is bad for Hart. If the units are focused fired, then yeah. But it's likely those weak scouts are still going to get hits. I feel like every upgrade you can think of is valuable here. I like the armor on the skirms. I like to see forging and armor on the scouts. But what can you afford? 19 farms and fish for Dark. And then 20 farms, no fish for Hart. And there's forging now. The nice thing for Hart here is he is cutting off Dark from reinforcing with these archers and spears. The archer range and the barracks are at the bottom of the hill. The rough thing for him, though, is that if he retreats, he's retreating downhill. So, I mean, retreating is kind of not an option right now. Not an option you're going to be happy with. Hello? Dark is leaving the hill to, I guess, meet up all of his armies together. And wow, he actually micros that insanely well. Still, though, fighting uphill against this it cannot be the play, and this is a way better engagement for Hart, I think. Yeah, Hart's going to take that every single day. You cannot be fighting uphill when the battles are already looking to be this close. That swings the fight each and every time, and I think Dark wanted to breathe, but I think he lacked a little bit of patience. You know, what it probably is there is he's not expecting the same investment from Hart. He doesn't know Bloodlines is in and armor was coming in. He may have actually clicked at a certain point, maybe 20 seconds prior, and then compared the upgrades he saw to the upgrades that he has. That's definitely what it is. Capture Age, we've got it on screen. In game, you don't have it on screen. You have to click. Oh, that's so good. That's so good from Hart to dive in nice and close. And Hart, this just seems like the type of game that Hart loves. And like I said earlier, now Hart knows I've got the lead. He has to overinvest. Now I can go Castle Age. This is just textbook, man. He's so good at this. But this is also where he's most vulnerable. Because it's double stable production from Dark. I think Dark will very likely push this back. Double stable scout production can swing this. And he isn't up yet, but with the market, he could buy some res and probably click up. I wonder if Hart realizes that he's going to lose the fight and that he wants to take this army as far away from his base as possible. It feels so logical, right? So well thought out to do that. But that's not easy to do. That's what this is. Has to be. And then obviously trade as many skirms away on archers as you can here before you lose the engagement. He'll lose the engagement. The archers can move forward. He's got a minute to defend now. And Dark's going to click up. What a great job from Dark. And oh my god, why does Hart have Vils here? I think he misclicked Vils forward. What? Oh my goodness, Hart. What? Why are these Vils here? Okay, one Vil goes down. That's fine. That villager talked smack about the king, so they told him to go work in the north, even though he didn't want to. I mean, it could have been worse. That could have been worse. Now, Hart's producing more scouts. Hart's producing more skirms. But he lost a lot of his skirms. Light cav upgrade. Market now for Hart. So much on food and wood right now. Very little on gold. The only thing gold is doing for Hart is giving him the upgrades for his food and wood units. Oh, Dark is engaging on this, though. This is an interesting engagement. This is a really interesting engagement, actually. This is before Hart gets the upgrades. And Hart's like, come on, Lightcav. Get here, get here, get here. Do something for me. But that was a pretty decent fight for Dark. I think the thing he really wants to kill there, actually, is the skirms. Because crossbow are really important for him in Castle Age. Impressive micro from both, honestly. Hart's still diving. Hart's Lightcav upgrade will make a difference. And again, I can't help but feel like he's actually happy with that because he's killing the archers. He's killed so many archers. And Dark wasn't able to get to his base yet. But what a game, guys. I mean, Dark has just stood with him this whole time in this full feudal battle and stabilized. He'll have light cav. He'll still go for crossbowman here. I really want to check the scouting. Wow. Never scouted this. Never scouted this. So once these golds are gone, that's a talking point. But there's the crossbow upgrade he so badly wanted. Now, Hart doesn't necessarily have to worry about that because it's not as big a force as it could have been. And now Hart wants to boom. Best game of the series. Saved for the final game. You love to see it. Second TC now for Hart. And this army just buys him some time here. Uses the mobility. Dark has to react. And eventually he'll have to deal with this, but this gives him a little bit more time to get his options ready. Seems like his plan is still camel skirm here. I mean, he is Hindustanis after all, right? Now, Hart scouting. Okay, so Hart sees that, actually. And then he does have this gold TC. So his gold situation's way better. You have to think eventually Dark is going to find an additional gold or something, but... I mean, they've got scouts, but they're using the scouts in the fight for the most part. Knights are veering off to the side here, guys. I thought the knights would group up with the crossbows. But I think Dark is sick of having to react to the raids from Hart. It has been all Hart pretty much in the raiding game. And so he has enough to defend still, and the knights are going to go this way. And for the first time, Hart will need to react, and the knights are through, and Hart, house, palisade, house. Are you kidding me, bro? Are you kidding me? He stops the knights from going through. That's incredible damage control. And now he has a couple extra seconds to react with the camels. That was insane. He's absolutely insane, and there's still micro to happen here. But Dark's also insane. Dark's holding. See how the micro goes. Dark's Knights might actually win the fight there. And Dark remains steadfast on the hill. Knights did win the fight. But the Camel Skirm combination's looking pretty scary right now. Anytime you're watching Hart, it's honestly just like... It's always the same. Stable, Skirm. Try and beat me. In this case, it's Camel. It's not Knight. And that's why crossbows is so valuable. Because, like, the crossbows can melt the camels so quickly. So it's a perfect Civ matchup, honestly. Portuguese can master gold units like no one else. Except for maybe Chinese. And then Hindustanis have the counters. What a game, dude! What a game! At Scorpions? No, I really don't think so. I think they're going to stay on this, at the very least, solely due to the fact that it's much easier to control. This is a really micro-intensive game. Adding in any other types of units just make it kind of difficult for you. The exception may be a monk to convert or heal. But it's just TC's army control. They're moving so quick here. In a slower game, you could maybe consider a few more things. Guys, I think Dark will drop a castle soon, by the way. He's not saving up for a defensive castle. And big fight. Really big fight, actually. Really big fight. A lot of expensive units are going to go down here. Most of the camels are going to go down for Hart. But the skirms aren't able to kill that many crossbows. I think that's a better gold engagement for Dark, at least. But super close. Cav Archer counterattack isn't doing much. And light Cav in queue for Dark. 600 stone. I mean, if he wins a fight, he drops the castle on the TC. I think Hart also might have lost a monk somewhere here. He was converting a ship a moment ago. I would love for Dark to try and raid with the light cav first. Even just 4. Go raid. And then you try and take the main engagement. And oh, boy! Look how many vills he's sending! He's sending 31 vills. He knows that... he needs to get this castle up. And even if he takes losses, the castle has to go up. This is for first place in the group. First place in the group and quarterfinals. Can Dark take the fight? He'll dive for the monks. He doesn't have a light cav meat shield anymore, though. But there goes the castle. Bro. I mean, he's bringing the vills. He has some ships. He still has lots of crossbows. He's got some knights. It's not a good time to be a villager. But I think the castle goes up. And if the castle goes up, it goes up on Hart's face. And then he can make organ guns. I say it's worth it. I say it's worth it. If you send 31 vills, the castle is likely going up. He only lost like 8 or 10 or 13. I don't even know. And now he gets gold. And like, now Hart can't take this gold. Now Dark can take this gold. Hart does know about this gold. Hart also knows about this gold. But Hart now has a very difficult game to play. And has to defend massively. And it would be really impressive if he could sort this out. But I almost expect it that he can do it because of how amazing he's playing here, guys. He can absolutely do this. That vill lead is significant. 25 villager lead. And still so many camels and still so many skirms. Dark needs to find an area that the camels are not in. Force the opponent to split focus. And that just happens now. Hart brings some of the camels over, not all. Gets here a little late, though. We'll lose some vills, and then Dark always has the luxury to fall right back to the castle fire. I feel like Dark's eco is set up to maybe be 2 TCs, but he might be too far gone. Like, maybe when you've been this all in for so long, it feels too late to switch into some additional eco. I'd like to see it still. Almost feels like he wants to go imp with the way he's balancing his resources. That can't be right. Hart always has enough army around, and he never gets baited into that castle fire. Herbal medicine for Dark to heal up the knights inside the TC. That's fun. I like that. And there goes a TC for him. Does he know about the stone there? He does. He scouted all that. He just never scouted that gold. But gold isn't really an issue now. What do you do if you're Hart? If it's an Arabia game, you go counterattack. But, like, you counterattack, all of this eco dies. I think you need to wait for a castle here. And then you can counter. But you are forced to defend. At all times. And his opponent just keeps switching sides on him. Like, Hart goes over here, and now we have Dark headed over this way to the hill. Well, if you add 1 mangonel, you can lock down some organ guns. So I think organ guns aren't actually the biggest threat. But where you're producing everything from is the issue, and it's just so awkward. Like, so easy to fall into a demo or castle fire, which is happening for Hart, and there's so much to control, so much to react to. And look at that army go down and Dark. 30 vills behind, but so much military right now. And if Hart makes one mistake, he's dead, right? Like, this is one mistake, he's completely obliterated. He could lose a ball of skirms and a ball of camels to crossbows, let's say, so quickly. But his reactions have been ridiculous. Dark keeps making him work really hard. This little raid over here, Hart has to pay attention to. Like, type a 1 in chat. If you were in Hart's position, you would, like, send too much army to one side, and then you'd have no army on the other side, and then you would just completely die. If I could type in chat, I'd be typing a 1. It's so difficult. But here's an example of it. Look, like, he's over here reacting. The camels, now he's going to counterattack, I guess, because he feels like I'm sick of reacting. And now we have another castle coming from Dark. He's brought less villagers this time. But, oh, man, is the camel counterattack the play here, Hart? It could get even more crazy here. There's a lot of skirms there. Hart's dropping his own castle. There's siege back here that Dark's going to aim to pick off with his knights. Again, though, I think that Dark will complete his castle. We then have camels to focus on. I will show you the camels. There doth be the camels. And the mangonels are gone. The castle for Dark is going to complete. And Hart's castle kills a lot of the organs as well. But, I mean... Oh, God, Dark, you're getting camel, bro. Dark doesn't know! Dark doesn't know! He didn't react. He didn't see it. And how can you, bro? Who's expecting the camel counterattack? Well, it's a wasteland of an eco. 50 vil lead for Hart, and he's on his way to Imp. Are you kidding me, bro? Man, dude. How? How is he macroed his way to Imp with all of this? That's absolutely ridiculous. Now let's think about the situation, though. He could get organ guns before he's Imp. He could lose every camel right now to these crossbowmen. So yeah, vil lead is obviously significant. Those camels are actually doing all right. But you still could get absolutely deleted by one organ gun volley until you're Imp. 2 minutes you have to hold. But he always has just enough. There's a mangonel coming out. That could help. And those crossbows didn't kill everything they needed to. And with trebuchets in the mix, Dark could start to lose these castles. And what an amazing series from Hart. I mean, I don't think we see a GG. I would not want to see Dark called a GG. I think you still want to see someone play on, but you're surrounded by castles that are just going to treb you down. And you're 40 vils behind. So it's... what do you do? I didn't mean I don't want to see players call GG in respect. I mean, like, ideal world, Dark fights a little bit more here. But he's trying. Okay, he's going to click to Imp. He's on his way up now. He has a big ball of organ guns. Look at all this economy Hart has had to relocate constantly throughout all of this. So sick. Just so sick. And there he goes. He's now an Imp. 3 minutes ahead. Treb 1 on the way. Treb 2 on the way instantly for those castles. There's no way that Dark can take down those Trebs. His units don't allow it. His organ guns can slice and dice. But these castles will fall. And Hart can raid the sides of the map constantly with light cav. And these organ guns are going to have to chase. This feels almost impossible. But again, why does it feel impossible? Because of how amazing Hart is playing and how inevitable he feels. Like, you just know Hart's going to do the right thing every time. You just know it. Couple outposts on the side. It's funny, there's like no gold over here. It's because the other gold spawned over here. But this is so tough. Now Dark's going to switch into crossbowman again and try. Defensive castle, it seems perfect to give him a gold. Control the stone, control the relic. But castle's falling, man. And yeah, organ guns aren't an option anymore. So that's a good idea from Dark to switch out of that. You still can get nice value from the organs you have. But Hart's up to 50 on food. Like, this isn't a weak eco for him. 140 vils. 50 on food. And, I mean, that's going to be light cav for days. Maybe not this group. Well, he takes the engagement, actually. Imp armor seems to make a pretty big difference there. Castle number 1 down. Castle number 2 about to go down. Hart didn't actually finish it yet, but I'm sure he will. And Desperation TC, Sneak TC for Dark in the corner. 60 pop behind, making a switch into crossbow. But it just feels like he's going to be raided to death here. He's only at 100 vils against 140. And if the Hussars find the proper areas, Dark is going to lose a lot of villagers very quickly. Monk goes down before it drops off the relic. Light cav underneath this TC. Light cav are over underneath this TC that's getting trebbed. The light cav are on the wood line. They're Hussars now. Hart, the only area of the map he needs is here. This is the only area of the map for me that Dark could come back with, but when Hart needed the sweep, he's about to get it to steal first place. Absolute scenes here, people. And I really thought, like, what I was going to be saying about Hart today was, man, I bet you he regrets that loss against freaking Andy on Pacific Islands. Because he had that game, and Andy had a crazy comeback, and I'm sure Hart, after that series, was frustrated with himself. because of how important the wins are, right? Doesn't matter. Does not matter. The 2 players behind him in the group. It'll be Dark, and then it will be Viper. Castle down for Dark. He can't believe it, guys. He can't believe it. I feel bad for him. He won every other series. 2 of them 3-0. The others 2-1. And now he could just see Mr. Yo emerging from the darkness. Because he's gonna have to play Yo in the playoffs now. Wow. I mean, Heart's gameplay on land maps is absolutely ridiculous. There's really only one player who I feel can compete these days. That player, of course, is Hera. Heart's gameplay is so similar to it. Lovely stuff, man. I mean, it's not like so we covered these as Rex, but it's not as if the situation wasn't clear before Hart played. Like, it was very clear many days ago. It didn't depend on any other results. The only way that Hart could get first is 3-0ing the player who is top of the group. And he did it. And he looked so good. I'm really excited to see him. He'll move into the quarterfinals. Dark, of course, will play up against Mr. Yo. And love to see Hart at that level. Crazy wood, crazy food eco. If you're wondering what made the difference here, it was the ability to macro behind the micro. He added those TCs really early. I remember that one fight he took that was slightly better in feudal. And then he went up to Castle Age, so there was the Castle Age advantage. But man, was this so difficult, man. Like, it's so easy to lose your camels and your skirms in those situations. And then to overextend yourself into a castle when that pressure's coming in. But Dark brought the chaos, and Hart was able to expand behind it. It's just unbelievable, man. So quick. Both players are. But you could just tell Hart always just on top of his game. So let's look at the bracket now, people. That is the end of group stage. 5 weeks of group stage closes with that. What a perfect finish. Let's pull up the bracket. We have 5 more days of the tournament as we move into the playoffs. But I guess we'll end it by showing the final standings in this group. Hart, of course, at the top. Okay. Hart, of course, at the top with 11 wins. After that, results. Dark is second place, moves to playoffs with 10 wins. Viper ends with 9 wins. Freakin' Andy ends with 7 wins. And then Valis and Daniel with 5 and 3. Bottom 2 are out. They'll be in gold next season. They're no longer platinum. Top 4, regardless of what happens from here, are still platinum next season. But we'll pull up Liquipedia to look at the matchups. I also will be able to tell you guys the order in which we cover them. Because it might not be in the exact order that Liquipedia has, because it's based on player schedules and whatnot, especially since we have playoffs in the weekday. Sorry, just pulling it up. Here we go. Arbase, I'll check that in a second. So here are the playoffs. In the round of 12, we have Sato versus ACCM, Dark versus Yo, Sebastian versus the Viper, and MBL versus Nikov. Now, before we get too far ahead of ourselves, I'm gonna repeat those. I'm gonna say a set, and I want you to tell me who wins, chat. Okay? Sato versus ACCM. Good luck. Good luck. Go ahead. You have to pick one, I guess. I see a lot of ACCMs. Dude, Sato looked good. The ACCM looked good. I mean, my heart actually, like, my head said Sato and my heart said ACCM. So I don't know what that means. I'll have to maybe do some research on how they faced up against each other. I think it should be close. Okay, Dark versus Yo. I think history's going to say Yo, but Dark, he got more wins this group stage. He's motivated. Dark could take it, man. But I think you guys are wisely saying Yo. Okay, cool. Sebastian Viper. I'll say what I said earlier. Based on this season's performances, Sebastian's the favorite, man. If Viper plays against Sebastian like he played against Andy today, he will lose. But Viper's peak Much higher than what we saw today. That should be a massive series. Crazy series. The level should be insane, dude. And then MBL Nikov. That's maybe, I think that might be the one where Twitch chat's more 50-50. But MBL did cast here yesterday, so I think a lot of people are may say MBL because of the MBL bias there. I mean, they apparently trained together, and they both won sets. Should be very close. Can I see the draft first? I tell my chat to say a name, and then I don't even have the guts to do it. I think I might lean a little bit more towards MBL there. I think I'll go towards MBL. Nikov will get the lead, and then MBL will try and bring it back. That's how all these games are going to be. It just comes down to if Nikov can kill him off, which I think he can, but it depends. Okay, and then obviously, like, whoever wins those sets moves into the quarters, right? So we have Leary, Tato, Hera, and Hart in separate quarterfinals. The big standout situation for me is this right here. So whoever wins Sebastian Viper will face Hera in the quarterfinals. So that could be the Viper Hera quarterfinal, or that could be Sebastian Hera. Either way, that's a banger matchup. This is why we talked about the importance of the groups. Leary, Tato, Hera, and Hart can just relax and chill, and they can watch everybody else play, game plan for their potential opponents as they get that bye to the quarterfinals. So really interesting season. So coverage schedule, okay? Tomorrow we do 2 round of 12s. Let me just look at the message from our base so we can tell you the 2 sets we do. Okay. Tomorrow we start the day with MBL versus Nikov at 16 GMT. And then we do ACCM versus Sato. All right? After that, we have Dark versus Mr. Yo, followed by Sebastian versus the Viper. So Tuesday, Wednesday are our round of 12 sets. And then Thursday, Friday are the quarterfinals. And then Saturday's the semis. And then we have the 3rd place match in the final on Sunday. That's it, folks.